Hello property lovers, welcome to Property Focus, your window into the world of architecture, building construction and real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's episode we examine a symbol of modernity that gives buildings and homes a more delicate and sophisticated look. It's a material that's been around for years, as far back as the 18th century, with the very first building of its kind called the Crystal Palace, which was found in 1852, designed by architect Joseph Paxton. If you haven't already guessed it, we're looking at glass and the innovation around this magnificent material. Now, given it's transparent and it's got many uses, many developers use this glass for facades, glass for their office partitions, and bigger windows for their residential projects to rely less on electricity and more on natural light, lowering electricity bills and becoming more energy efficient. Now, who doesn't want lower bills? But what happens when it breaks? Aside from the normal use, we're going to see an artist with the use, or an artist who uses waste glass, taka or circular glass for lack of a better word, and see how one's waste can be turned into another man's treasure with beautiful interior design, furnishings, and so much more. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Peter Ngigi. They say once you break glass, you can never piece it back, but that must have been said before that person met Anselm, because through his craft, element of creativity and alchemy, he's not only put these pieces together in art form, he's created gems. And I had a chat with him, and I'm going to have a chat with him right here so you could just hear what he has to say about this decorative material. Welcome to Property Focus, Anselm.
So hi Peter, good to be here or with you guys on your show. My name is Anselm, Anselm Croze from Kitengela Hot Glass here in sunny Kajiado, and we've been in the business for about 30 years.
Tell us about this operation.
So it's evolved kind of organically. It started with a need to use molten glass as a craft medium in Kenya, and we make prosaic tableware, all sorts of stuff that you would use from day to day, like tumblers and jugs and vases and bowls and such. And we've evolved to other things that you see around you. So actual tables, chairs, panels, chandeliers, lighting. There's all kinds of diverse other disciplines that we engage in. We've got about 50 people working here.
Now, about your latest project, you make all these things. Tell us about that.
The last piece we made was for a company in the industrial area, and they needed a signature piece for their new kind of waiting area, office building, corporate HQ, whatever you want to call it. And we did a huge 4.5 meter hanging in the style of Dale Chihuly.
Anselm, what inspires you with your designs?
We're driven a lot by customer suggestion. My personal inspiration comes from the things I see around me, from nature. The material itself is very inspiring. It's very limiting and very inspiring, so there's only a certain amount of things that you can do with it, and so you have to work within a parameter of plasticity and possibility and kind of pragmatism in how the stuff behaves. So size is a limitation, yes. The biology of how heavy a piece is and how much you can do with it. The complexity of thinness is another limitation. So the material is a good guideline. There's so much actually in the way of inspiration, especially with the sort of connected world that we live in at the moment, the sort of links that we have with other artists. I find other artists inspiring. Other glassmakers, yeah, just the world around us, really.
So what's the process to making some of these items?
It's relatively straightforward to make these items, but it involves some fairly kind of hectic temperatures and some pretty old school processes. So one of the key factors is that we use recycled glass. So that's one of the things that actually sets us aside from quite a lot of normal glass makers. Recycled glass isn't really very forgiving in its molten state. It freezes very quickly. You've only got a narrow sort of band of time to work in, so you've got to work a little bit kind of rougher or quicker, more forgiving of what might be regarded as imperfections or variances in thickness or perhaps bubbles or tool marks or such like. We would get scrap glass, so mainly window or bottle glass, wash it, sort it into clear windows or green bottles. There's not a huge variety in color. And then we throw it into our furnace in the evening, and that melts overnight. The air bubbles boil out, and in the morning we have a 1200 degree kind of soup of glass from which we pull the material out, like picking up honey on a spoon, and do whatever it is we need to do with it. If we're blowing it into an object or casting it for slabs for our tables, or making beads out of it, or elements for a chandelier, or anything that we happen to need or what our customers need.
Now, what has been your experience with decorative glass over the last 30 years, you said?
We've had to create our market because basically it was a misconception that the church was the only place that you could have colored glass in. And this was generally because the church was rich enough to afford it, to strike awe into the hearts of their parishioners with the beautiful shafts of colored light. And I've spent 30 years trying to kind of break that misconception by saying actually it's available to anybody really who wants to put it in their houses or office buildings or wherever you can kind of put it into a build. So, and that's in the building sense, but also in sort of free-form stuff. This technique called dalle de verre, which is glass in concrete, is incredibly versatile, very strong stuff. I'm sitting on a dalle de verre chair, so it's strong enough to handle a significant weight. The tables are, I give them a lifetime guarantee. If your table, something happens to it, you can bring it back and I'll replace it. And again, then for windows and panels and stuff, it's really durable. And it also has a mesh of steel inside it so that kind of acts as a burglar proofing should it be required by the client.
Anselm, what are some of the new trends that you're carving out, being a proprietor in this space?
Accessibility to light and color. I think it's not the purvey of the super wealthy. It's not something that you just can look at from afar or on television. It's here in Kenya and you can have it in your house.
Well, why don't you give us your closing remarks or your parting shots?
Don't limit yourself. Get some color in your life.
Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show. Wonderful.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Peter.
And there you have it, from the proprietor of decorative glass. It is such a beautiful material and such elaborate designs. Well, we're going to take a short commercial break, but when we're back, we've got more on this decorative glass. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and still on glass, we have an artist who's using glass to just stimulate your spaces with the decorative glass. Now, let's hear what he had to say. So I'm here with Tony Mugo to tell us a little bit more about decorative glass. I'm sure you can see some of the lovely pieces that are here with me. Welcome to Property Focus, Tony.
Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Tony Mugo,
Yes.
an artist who works with glass as my canvas. And I've been doing this since 1992. And it's a medium I enjoy working with. I think it offers a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
And gifts of the natural world come out more vividly through this material.
Amazing. So tell us, what are some of the things you're doing with decorative glass?
I started off with glass. I would say glass found me because it wasn't something I was looking out for. I was a pure science student, majored in sciences and agriculture. I come from a military family, so you can see how that is going.
Yeah.
And then I met a lady at Lonro House many years ago in '92,
Yes.
who was training people in glass engraving. And I was sold. When I first saw crystal engraved glass, that was it.
What are some of the different techniques you're infusing with glass?
Techniques are plenty, yeah, and they're always being discovered, yeah. So glass is it's an amazing material. I find that glass is one of those things that when you think you know it, then you still realize there's a lot to learn about it, yeah. So first of all, there are things you can do with glass, which is you can etch it, you can frost it, you can fuse it, you can you can use it in stained glass, like what I do. So the possibilities are endless.
But you said you're more of warm glass than hot glass.
More of cold glass, and warm glass.
And warm glass.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So cold glass is where we use very little heat
Yes.
when you're processing or working with the material.
Yes.
For example, when you're doing leaded glass,
Yes.
what we do is we cut glass and we piece it together using lead cams. And there's hardly much heat or any used in that process.
Okay.
Warm glass comes in where you want to add surface value to the glass you're working with.
Yes.
Say, for example, you want to paint on it.
Yes.
You put it in the kiln, and we use metal oxides to fire the paint and infuse it into the glass.
Yes.
So we fire up to temperatures of about 700 degrees to 600 degrees, depending on the paint medium you're using.
Yes.
So that's what we refer to as warm glass.
Okay.
So we use kilns, but we don't get to hot glass temperatures, yeah, where you're using over 1,000 degrees centigrade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your latest project.
So right now I'm working on this beautiful giraffe piece.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for a client, and it's going to involve quite a bit of painting process, and also quite a lot of leading. Yeah. So this is early days. So what we do is start with a small sketch drawing.
So you use leading for where? Just point.
To put the pieces together. Okay. So all these are individual pieces, which I'll eventually put together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And I have a liturgical project
for
a church.
Yes.
And I'm doing 2 sacristy windows.
How long does it take to do this?
It's a labor of love, yeah. It takes quite a bit of time.
Yes.
So because the painting process is quite intense, you have to build up layers. It's not like painting on paper or canvas, because you paint in thin layers. So you do your first outlines, put them in the oven, fire the paint in, and then build up your tonal value slowly. Yeah, you cannot do heavy layers on glass.
In terms of cost, how much would it ordinarily cost for something like this?
So we have different ways of working out prices. Yeah. So one is a bit more scientific, where you work out on a square foot price. So you calculate the surface area of your window, which could range from as low as 6,000 up to 10,000, depending on many things: glass, labor, and there are pieces where you don't even use that method, where you charge it as a work of art. You feel the price for it, and you charge it. Yeah.
Now you mentioned some of this glass is not even available locally.
Yes, quite a number of some of the nicer colors that we use in stained glass are not locally available.
Yes.
So we have to import them. Yeah, and hence the cost. Yeah.
Europe.
Mostly from the US. Yeah.
Okay.
So we import quite a number from the US.
Yes.
And sometimes you can get some glasses from Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any advice you'd like to give your viewers right now?
I find stained glass is like perfect marriage between architecture and glass. So it works very well with architectural themes.
Yes.
And you could have a view that is not nice, and you want to block a view. You can have something decorative on that window. So it becomes like a feature piece in the house. Or if you want to enhance a view as well, you can use stained glass for those purposes. So yeah, and we say it's music in space.
Yes.
So it's something beautiful to look at.
Well, Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Now, if you live in a glass house, you know what to do. When they throw stones, make a glass car. Stay tuned. Well, I'm sure you're well on your way to have a beautiful home with all this a material that you've just learnt about. Now we're going to get into our billboards on deals of lands and then our materials profile thereafter. Stay tuned. Unlock a world full of divine moments, graceful memories, and treasured experiences. Indulge in a magical fusion of nature, art, and architecture in the heart of Westlands at Kenzie Residence. Deeply connect with the most distinct features, mind-blowing views, and delightful amenities while immersed in utmost elegance. Book your studio 1 or 2 bedroom unit starting from 4 million shillings and enjoy our flexible 4-year payment plan. Call us today on 0728 000 002 or visit our website on www.safeproperties.com. Amazing. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Now we've seen the amazing things you could do with glass, and I thought it would be worthwhile and fitting to get into a factory to explore this magnificent material and the innovations around it. Let's go. Now, the guy I'm here to meet has been in the business for quite some time, doing some research and now running a fully fledged factory manufacturing this element we want to find out about. Brilliant. Welcome to Property Focus.
Thank you, Peter,
Yes.
and welcome to our factory.
I'm glad to be here. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Jayant Raghwani. I'm the director at Alloglass Africa Limited, and I am an enthusiastic individual who is trying to see how the young generations can take on more responsibilities and support the construction sector.
Good. Tell us about glass. What is it made of?
Funny enough, Peter, I would assume a lot of the people who can feel, touch glass, see glass, everything, they might not know what it is made of. So surprisingly, it's a raw material, which is it's been made of, and it's sand. This is the sand that you see not on the beach, obviously. It's the sand. Obviously, you can't have glass made on the beach, but sand which is heated up to almost about 1700 degrees Celsius, where it becomes in a liquid state. So it is when the sand is heated up, it becomes liquefied, and we then cool it, but then it's layered up and cooled down in sheets. So the thing is, sand and other materials added like lime, soda ash, actually give the capacity of the sand to be formed into a product which is called the glass.
Now, speaking of its uses, what are some of the trends of glass in the industry today?
I would put it in like the word to say ABC.
Okay.
Yeah?
Interesting.
I would say A for aesthetics. The trend in glass is aesthetics. Why it's coming up to say glass is not what we used to have centuries ago. Yeah, when it evolved, glass was just that. Aesthetically, glass is being enhanced. The view of it, the look of it, the feel of it. You're having colored glasses, you're having etched glasses, you're having actually CNC sort of ways of actually using glass. The other thing is bigger is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say now architects, interior designers, and even clients or individuals like ourselves want big panes of glasses to be put in buildings to showcase panoramic views, unobstructed views, because the trend has come to say that we want unparalleled views, nothing obstructing. We want to see as if there is nothing in between us and nature, nothing in between us and the people outside. So that is there, that bigger pieces of glasses which are now better in terms of performances is there. And the other new trend I would say is curved glass. Glass is actually being curved to suit natures of buildings, to suit natures of balusters, to suit natures of cubicles, having lifts now with curved glasses, taking you as if you have a feel of a time capsule. You're going through a building of 100 stories, imagine, and then you're passing through a capsule. The look, the feel, the entire experience of curved glass is the new trend, I would say.
How then do you make it so strong?
Okay, in terms of making it strong, there is processes that we go through. There is a process of toughening, lamination. You actually have that process for the glass to actually go through that, because glass as it is, it's a very fragile material. But when you pass it through a certain process, it gives us opportunity to sort of like, enhance its properties.
Okay.
And it's combated with that you can actually assist the glass to be more user-friendly, more combustible in terms of fire-resistant, bulletproof glasses. Because when you apply layers of glasses and special coatings for it to perform to its best and also have the structural element in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Reflection. Tell us about that. How do you avoid that in traffic today? Light not reflecting off a building. How do you avoid that?
For the reflection, yes. You see, glass is something which is very transparent. So you'd actually, if there's any light, it would definitely pass through.
Yes.
But there is ways of actually how we can actually reduce that. By putting the PVB films on the glass, it gives us an opportunity to sort of actually assist in terms of reducing the level of glare, the level of rays that do pass through. So even thermally, in terms of that reflection, the heat is reflected back again. So when you're inside a room, in an office, in an environment where you have temperature controls, you don't want the outside temperatures to sort of like start coming into the building, and then building temperatures which are ambient temperatures to be then transmitted outside. So it gives us a very good opportunity to have those, and glass is revolutionizing itself. So we see that if we have to use the PVB films, there are so many different types and elements that can be used in terms of layering glass in different stages, in different thicknesses, using different types of PVB films to combat that.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's sort of like a sandwich approach, you said? You put the PVB inside.
Yes. So it's sandwiched in between two pieces and two panes of glass.
Yes.
And then it's heated up, and then it's actually sandwiched.
Okay.
So basically,
heat coming in,
flexing out, and then from inside, making sure that anything which is the temperature inside stays within the inside environment, and any harsh environments we, can actually combat and make sure it's outside.
Okay, absolutely amazing. Parting shots for viewers.
I would say to everyone, I would say glass is not complicated. Yes, everyone makes it complicated. You just need to know it has a lot of window of opportunities and go and get it.
Absolutely.
Open up your window of opportunities and you'll be fine.
Thank you very much, Jayant. Glad to have had you on the show.
Thank you, Peter. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I didn't know glass was made out of sand, and you've just heard it from Jayant. Go out there. Glass is the window of opportunities, and shatter the glass ceiling. Stay tuned. And that is how color is louder than words. It's been a superb episode, most informative actually. Glass in all its brilliance. Now, if you want more topics addressed on the show, reach out to us on our social media handles right below the screen, and we'll be more than happy to get more of these guests and topics on the show. It's been most delightful. See you next week, same time, same place, right here at 5:30. I've been your host, Peter Ngigi.